Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the critically acclaimed Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism. Your number one source for everything rants regarding sports and television in the YouTube lexicon. I am here for a television-based video. Ladies and gentlemen, I have put this Watchmen HBO show on the back burner. Okay? For the most part, it was on my bucket list of shows to watch. I watched the majority of the shows I really cared about first. And to be honest with you, I really loved the movie. So let me preface everything I am going to say in this video with I enjoyed the film. But this TV series, it is anti-black propaganda, 100%, ladies and gentlemen. And I am going to explain in this video why straight black men have no business supporting or watching this series, period, ladies and gentlemen. Now, to break down the story, because I took the bullet for all of you proverbially, okay? The story basically goes as this. Regina King plays a character who is a descendant of a survivor of the Black Wall Street Tulsa bombing, okay? Her grandfather, who ends up becoming Louis Gossett Jr. in his older age, he somehow, at 100 plus years old, okay, shows up from a situation that happened in the early 1920s, late 19-teens, right? He shows up in the late 2000s into the early 2020s. Okay, so needless to be said, this guy has to have some type of a power because he's still alive. So there's tons of mystery in the first half of this season, ladies and gentlemen, and that holds you on because you don't know the history of Louis Gossett Jr.'s Will Reeves character. Okay, so let me preface everything I'm saying by breaking down the actual story. That way, when I bring up the plot holes, they make sense to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, because y'all are here for my analysis. Now, Regina King plays Angela Abar, who is also her own superhero. But in this world, it happens after the events of the movie in present time. In this time, cops, aka officers, they have to get essentially approved by their own higher ups at the base, at the headquarters, at the police headquarters, if you will. They have to call up the headquarters to be approved to use their firearm, okay? So at the beginning of this show, you're seeing things that, you know what, that's really progressive. That's interesting. You know, that would stop a lot of police brutality. That would stop a lot of people getting killed for no reason. So you're getting into the story and understand, they perfectly crafted this a certain way to make black people okay with it up to a certain point, ladies and gentlemen. But we're going to get into that. So the story essentially starts off. If you followed the movie, you know Rorschach was basically the main character of the movie. He died, okay? So they essentially have this new era Ku Klux Klan, basically, known as the 7th Cavalry. That's their name, ladies and gentlemen. And all of them wear Rorschach masks to cover their identity. Even the police wear masks, balaclavas, bandanas over their face to cover their face. Everyone is very scared of someone else knowing their identity in this show. Basically, because of the events that happened to the Minutemen initially in the Watchmen, okay? So everyone is very careful with their identity. That's very key to take note of, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Angela Abar, aka Regina King's character, her superhero persona is known as Sister Night, okay? So she goes and she fights crime and she does her thing. Now what you find out is one of her partners, who I assume was a white person because she's now adopted 2 white kids, those kids are living with her. Her husband is with her, of course, and they have another child. Now, as you're getting to know Regina King's character, you start to notice that she's very friendly with this police commissioner. You find out that this police commissioner has a KKK uniform in his closet hidden, okay? So then that's when you go, oh, here we go. So this whole time she's been best friends with a guy who, for all intents and purposes, could have been running the 7th Cavalry for all we know. So it creates this mystery. It creates this confusion, this thriller perspective, okay? But then the same character who's this commissioner guy, he ends up getting hung by a tree. Very reminiscent to how black people were treated in the past. So it created an irony. it created a Django effect, right? Where people's like, okay, this is a different type of show. They're trying new things. They're being risque, okay? So you're willing to give the show more benefit of the doubt because they're trying things you never really see on television. Well, what ends up happening is Louis Gossett Jr.'s character, Will Reeves, who is the grandfather, like I've already said, of Regina King's character, Angela Abar, he calls Angela up while she's having sex with her husband. And he tells her, hey, show up without your mask to so-and-so location. And it ended up being the location where he allegedly hung this police commissioner who had ties to the Ku Klux Klan. Now, the reason why all of this is important is because this man is 100 plus years old in a wheelchair. So we're trying to figure out how the heck could he have hung a white man in his 50s that high up in the air? How is that physically possible? Even Regina King doesn't think it's physically possible. And at this point, Regina King doesn't even know this is her grandfather, ladies and gentlemen. So what we end up finding out is her grandfather, this story is so convoluted and dumb. Her grandfather decided to sign up for this experiment where essentially they put microchips in your brain, and they take your memories from you and put them in pills, in these pill capsules called nostalgia pills. These nostalgia pills are memories, and they are designed for when you want to relive great memories or terrible memories. You can pop the pill and you can live it. What ends up happening is Regina King decides to turn in her grandfather to the police for the murder of the police commissioner who she was cool with, irregardless of the fact that she found the KKK uniform in his closet. This leads to her grandfather using whatever power he had to somehow disappear. His car flies into the air. You don't see it again until you essentially see Silk Spectre come into play, working for the FBI or whatever. And essentially, after the Silk Spectre's episode, the car drops back down. But then when she goes through the glove compartment box, she finds the pills full of nostalgia. She finds the bottle full of nostalgia pills. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning all of this is because the nostalgia pills are very key to why this show is trash. Because episode 6 of this season specifically pushed a certain agenda that y'all know this channel is against. Because this channel knows the agenda against black men. Okay? They are trying to feminize black men all across media. And everybody keeps trying to tell me, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, Dave. But I keep getting more evidence to back up my opinions, ladies and gentlemen. So, essentially, Silk Spectre and Sister Night are trying to work together, and they also have another character named the Looking Glass. And this character, the Looking Glass, he's not really important, but he's important because he went to his ex-girlfriend, who I believe was some type of a scientist, and she was able to diagnose what these pills do. Yada, yada, yada. You end up finding out Louis Gossett Jr.'s character, Will Reeves, is working with this Asian woman who owns the company that initially created the patent for the nostalgia pills. This is important to note because up until this point, there's tons of mystery surrounding Louis Gossett Jr.'s character, Will Reeves. Now, if any of y'all saw the movie of Watchmen, then you know that there was a specific scene, which I won't get into too much detail for because I don't want YouTube to completely take down the video. But let's just say there was an assault scene involving the comedian and the Silk Spectre's mother, the original Silk Spectre. The hooded justice superhero walks in on them. And if any of y'all have seen the Watchmen movie, then you know that Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character, the comedian, went out of his way as he was getting punched to say, oh, you're getting off to this, aren't you? That was him in a subliminal way telling the audience at the time hooded justice was homosexual. Now, the reason why I'm saying that to you all is everyone, when they saw the film, everyone from the graphic novels, everyone who knows anything about Watchmen knows that the hooded justice was supposed to be a white character who happened to be gay. This is what they do to us in episode 6, ladies and gentlemen. Regina King essentially gets the pills back from the Looking Glass character, who did some digging and found out what these pills do and yada, yada, yada. She confesses these are her grandfather's memories. Okay, I'm trying to explain this as fast as I can because I don't want this to stretch out. Now, at this time, this is crazy. The 7th Cavalry are trying to conspire and work with Looking Glass to bring back Adrian, who was the villain of the Watchmen film. Okay, they're trying to work together to bring back Adrian. And they're trying to get Looking Glass to work for them by killing Regina King's character for them. And they said, if you don't kill her yourself, we are going to kill her ourselves and kill you. So what the Looking Glass character does, because he's a true hero, he decides, you know what, I'm going to get Regina King's character locked up. That way no one can get to her in the 7th Cavalry. This leads to Regina King, Angela Abar's character, Sister Knight. This leads to her in a panic because she's in the police headquarters, at the police station. This leads to her deciding to essentially overdose on all of the nostalgia pills all at once. This is all happening in episode 5. This leads to episode 6, where the entire episode is essentially a flashback-based episode where she goes through her grandfather's memories. Now, this is where I gotta call BS. Because from what we've seen about Louis Gossett Jr.'s character, Will Reeves, was his parents, his father fought, I believe, in the First World War. His father came back, and like a lot of black people and minorities in general, but specifically black people, they were treated like dirt after they fought for the very country that they defended. They got treated as dirt by the same people who didn't even fight in that war. And see, that's why I tell people now, you're a fool if you're a black person in the military, because at the end of the day, you'll still be treated like a second-class citizen, even if you are in the military, even if you're a veteran, okay? Now, this isn't me trying to disrespect people in the military, but this is me being honest, okay? Because they never treat you like they should treat you when you come back. Well, this is what happens to Louis Gossett's father, okay? And as the bombing is happening in Tulsa, you see all of these dudes in the Ku Klux Klan shooting stuff up, blah, 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 a whole bunch of racist porn, okay? Let's just really call it what it is. So they come up with the idea to smuggle their son, who once again is Will Reeves' character, Louis Gossett Jr.'s character as a kid. They come up with a deal with this other family to smuggle their son into this crate, okay? What happens is, before they can truly ride off and get out of the city of Tulsa, a bomb goes off, a few shots go off. Essentially, the wagon gets turned over. It leads to the kid opening up the box. He finds a little girl, and he essentially has to take care of this little girl because everyone else is wiped out. Now, it's a huge plot hole in how he was able to walk with a little black girl baby along the woods, along the road path, and not get caught by any racists. But at the end of the day, we let that ride because at this moment, we're like, okay, we're here for the payoff. We want to see vengeance. We want to see what happens. We want to see what superpowers this guy has. We want to see all of this stuff. You see what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? So understand, they hold you over into the terrible episode 6 very systematically. Now, so all we know up until this point is essentially that until we saw the memories, is that Louis Gossett Jr.'s character protected a young black girl. He got her out of Tulsa, and somehow, some way, he grew up. He ended up finding a woman who he married, who we're led to believe is the same girl he protected, but they make it seem like it's not the same woman because the woman went out of her way to say your family died in Tulsa instead of saying our family died in Tulsa. To me, that was a dead giveaway that this woman he met was not from Tulsa with him. So it makes you ask the question, what happened to that girl he was protecting? Now, if I'm wrong on that, I'm wrong on that. I don't want y'all nitpicking on if I'm wrong on that tiny little factor, because I'm right on a lot of stuff I'm saying in this video. So let's get to the memories. Regina King goes through some of this man's memories. He becomes a police officer after he comes back from the war. I believe he came back from the Vietnam War. He becomes a police officer. The white men won't even put the police badge on him. He needed a black man to put the police badge on him. That's how much racism this man was dealing with. So you're seeing all of the things this dude has to deal with after going to war, after the fact that his dad dealt with the same PTSD, the same racism. So you're rooting for this character at this point because you can see he is overwhelmed with anger and he's becoming fed up with how he is being treated in a country that he's fighting for and he's currently protecting while inside of it as a police officer. Now, as this flashback is going down, he comes across this white dude who decides to burn this deli that was owned by, I believe, some Jewish people. And it's not irony. Well, it is irony that the World War II happened to be happening around the same time, I believe, because you saw little posters and little newspaper covers of the Nazis moving west and stuff like that. Okay? So they're basically keeping you updated with what's happening with Hitler and those guys as this flashback is happening to remind you of the time period you are currently in. All right? Now, so what happens is the guy burns up the deli or the liquor spot or whatever that was. This leads to Will Reeves, Louis Gossett Jr.'s character in the past. This leads to him escorting him to the police station because he committed arson. The police officers, they correct the white guy who calls him a spook. They correct the white guy and say, apologize to the officer. So you're thinking, oh snap, these white officers really are treating this black officer like an equal. As soon as they walk with that white dude into another room, the white dude is let free. This drives the black man mad because when he sees the guy in the street again, he's like, how's this dude free? Y'all just saw me bring him in. Y'all just detained him. What's going on? Then you find out that there's something called the Cyclops, which is essentially a white supremacy symbol, an OK symbol that was just remixed a bit with some devil horns that they put on their forehead, okay, and they call it the Cyclops. Let's just really keep it a bean, all right? Let's just really keep it a bean, okay? And I'm just breaking down how dumb this story is, all right? So essentially, the black man's character is trying to now uncover pieces to this puzzle. But because he is overstepping his boundaries a bit with this specific white dude who committed arson, that leads to the same cops who corrected the white cop and told them to apologize for calling him a spook. Now these white officers decide to beat him down in an alley, drag him into the woods, and hang him by a tree. And at the last second before he dies and suffocates, they cut the rope and they tell him, know your place, boy, blah, 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 blah. This leads to Will Reeves' character walking home, walk of shame, bloody as a pulp. He still has the noose wrapped around him looking like Juicy Smollett. Let's really talk about it, okay? He looked like Juicy Smollett, all right? This looks stupid. Who the heck keeps that on them the whole time they make the walk? Doesn't make sense. And who keeps the hood that was put over their head with them the entire time? Well, anyway, so Will Reeves' character, Louis Gossett Jr.'s character in the past, he walks up on these thugs trying to essentially mug and sexually assault this woman in the alley. He decides, I'm going to put the hood over my head and they won't know my identity. So they're showing us the origins of what made every superhero cover their face. So that part was okay. And it explains why Angela Abar and all those other characters are covering their face, including the police, correct? Because of how black people were treated in the past. He beats up these thugs who tried to assault this woman in this alley, but no one knows his identity at the time. He comes back home to his black wife, and his black wife was on code so much that she asked him, what was that movie that you loved so much when you grew up in Tulsa? He explained the story of the movie. Essentially, it was a black sheriff, okay, or colonel, on a black horse, chasing a white officer on a white horse, and the white officer was committing crimes to the people of this town. The black officer used his lasso, grabbed him, took him off his horse, and detained him, and all of the white people in this house thanked the black man, and they revered him for being the protector, okay? They looked at that badge, and they said, oh, we don't see color, we just see protection. We see the badge. So this is the origins of what inspired this character, Will Reeves, to not only want to go into the military, but also become a police officer. Understand that, ladies and gentlemen, okay? He believed if he became a police officer, he would be accepted by white folks. That's the story of him, basically. Now, Will Reeves' character, oh my God, okay. Like I said, he's back home with his wife. His wife is asking him about the story. He tells her about the movie that he liked. So she decides, okay, well, I'm gonna help assisting you in this new costume by painting white mascara or white makeup or white paint or whatever along his eyes. He would close his eyes. She would paint it along his eyes just like Sister Night would paint it black. The point for that was when he poked holes in his the black hood that he put over his head, they would only see white outside of his eyes. And that would make most people assume what, ladies and gentlemen? That the hooded justice superhero was a white man. So now they're trying to cover up for the plot hole they're creating for themselves by acting like he painted his face white Okay? So essentially, they're making it seem like this dude is doing whiteface just to cover up the fact that he's not a black man, which was smart, but oh man. But when I get to in a second what this leads to, y'all gonna be like, no, because now y'all already know the black man is hooded justice. So you already know where I'm going at with this, right? You already know where I'm going at with this, because I've set the table well. All right, so his black wife assisted him in creating this costume. She assisted him in helping him cover up his identity. She created alibis for him to the point where the entire town did not know he was hooded justice at all. All of a sudden, this random white guy, I forgot his name, Captain Lasso, Captain something, Captain Boomerang, I forgot the dude's name. Anyway, some moist white superhero dude comes into their house, knocks on the door. Now I'm thinking this dude is low-key with the Klan. That's what I'm thinking. He's not. He is essentially trying to start the beginnings of the Minutemen that we saw in the movie of the Watchmen, okay? So this is essentially the origins of how that movie, how that group of superheroes came together, ladies and gentlemen. What you need to pay attention to in this scene, and when I mean pay attention to, I don't mean watch it yourself. I mean what I paid attention to that I want you to pay attention to me re-saying to you, because I don't want y'all to support this trash, is this white dude was so sure somehow that this black man was hooded justice, even though hooded justice has white paint. The white paint was enough to fool all of us into thinking he was a white man for tons of years when the comics were out. But all of a sudden, this one white guy, he can immediately discern it has to be this black man. See, he tried to allude to it that, oh, I come to think he would have to have someone in the police, at the police station that is tipping him off to all of these things that are happening, because otherwise, how could he be at all of these places at the right time? So in this moment, you can clearly see Will Reeves' character is trying to deny being a snitch for hooded justice, but at the same time, he's taking a little bit of satisfaction in the fact that someone is appreciating his work. If you pay attention to his black wife, she ain't feeling this. And she ain't feeling it for a reason, because he's losing sight of what he was doing it initially for. And this is why I'm pissed. See, I've been holding back my anger, bruh. I've been holding back my anger. You see this white dude pass something to this guy, and their hands connect for a split second. But they pay attention. But the camera zooms in on how their hands are together for a split second as he passes this note to him on how to contact him. Understand, Will Reeves' wife told him, "You're not going wherever he's trying to get you to go and join the Minutemen. You're not going." Literally, ladies and gentlemen, the next scene is this black man smashing this white guy from behind. Literally the next scene. So you mean to tell me a black man whose parents were killed in the Tulsa bombings, who is a policeman who almost got hung by Klansmen, is going to leave his black wife at the drop of a hat and fall in love with a white man? Ladies and gentlemen, that don't even make sense. That is a plot hole. That is the biggest plot hole of all plot holes, ladies and gentlemen. And they're making black men look stupid in this show. They're making us look stupid. Stupid. It doesn't make any sense. So you mean to tell me this dude met this man for all of 3 minutes and he already in love with him? But his black wife, who's going through the struggle with him, they both dealing with racism. This dude is so angry, he just wants to fight white men. But he has enough compassion in him to pop one in the anus? Are you kidding me? And see, this drives me mad. Because all of the progress that was made with that character was wiped away the minute you made him gay. And I wasn't even trying to rhyme. But see, this is a subtle example of how the gay agenda works. And see, one of my family members put me on game. The same character who was in this flashback playing Louis Gossett Jr.'s Will Reeves character in this era when World War II was pending. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, that's the same guy who was in a Black Mirror episode known as Striking Vipers, where I guess it was some type of Street Fighter type video game. And you could jump into virtual reality, and for whatever reason, they made these black men just have sex with each other. Ladies and gentlemen, do your research on it. Same actor was in that episode. So all of a sudden, You participate in an episode like that, feminizing black men, and you know what? Hey, we'll send you to HBO. You get a raise. You get upgraded to HBO. You get Warner Brothers production behind you, and you get to pop a white man in the butt. This is disrespectful, man. This is disrespectful to our history because it makes a mockery of the people who died in Tulsa. It makes a mockery of them. It makes it seem like all of the survivors of that are all homosexual. Either that or it makes it seem like they are dealing with enough PTSD to become homosexual. And here's another part that I gotta mention to y'all. Clearly this black man regrets being gay because he allowed them to take the memory out of his damn head and put it into a nostalgia pill. So for all the gay folks that may watch this that like this, understand, they're disrespecting y'all too. Because the black man didn't even respect the memory enough to keep it in his head. But somehow he got the memory of his granddaughter in his head still? So you gonna get rid of the memory of your wife that you cheated on with a white man you just met. But somehow you still got the memory of the granddaughter that was passed down from the wife you cheated on. Ladies and gentlemen, none of this makes sense. And honestly, the moment I saw that scene, I stopped watching it. I'm done. There's nothing left for me to see. Ladies and gentlemen, Watchmen HBO is anti-straight black men propaganda. Period. End of story. And if you like this show, something is a little wrong with you. Because they are disrespecting our ancestors. And understand, those people in Tulsa were some of the most brilliant black minds in American history. Don't even limit it to black American history. In American history. Don't limit it to a race. So for this boy to be the descendant of that and jump off code so quickly, the minute one white man showed him some love, this just goes to show that the majority of gay black men aren't on code. They want to go and sleep with white daddy. If they had the choice, they wouldn't be with a black man. And that's why they went out of our way not to show him become gay for the first time with a black man, which would have been more natural from a storytelling perspective because black men wouldn't be around enough white men to know their type of white man. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not even going to get into any deeper into this. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, this story doesn't make any sense. So understand, Sister Knight's character in this episode is going through the memories, finding out her grandfather is gay. But because she swallowed so many pills, she's in a vegetable state and she can't even react to what she's living through, y'all. It's some Twilight Zone BS, man. I feel bad for Louis Gossett Jr., man. Y'all ain't have to do that brother like that. Y'all ain't have to do that brother like that. And I got people telling me, oh, it gets better later. I don't care. Because y'all have disrespected my people. Y'all have completely disrespected my people. And not just my people, you have specifically disrespected straight black men with this show. And don't even get me to go deeper on the fact that Regina King's character, Sister Knight, is essentially the man of her family, and her husband is a stay-at-home husband. So the other straight black man that's a main character on the show, y'all make him look like a female too. Something pops off, she hands him the gun, and then she goes out the house and goes looking for the problems. Protect the kids, honey. And that guy looks like a coward. So ladies and gentlemen, please understand the propaganda, the SJW trash of this show. Understand the messaging that they are sending. Understand that the fans of the Watchmen movie have reasons as well to be mad because this does not fall in line with the source material. I am aware that some things happened in the graphic novel, but no one has ever said Hooded Justice was a black man until this show came out. And they just remixed it. Let's change the course of history and make sure the gay superhero is black. Let's make sure the one superhero who is known for forming the Minutemen, who is known as the first ever superhero, let's make sure he's a gay black man. Because if he's going to be the first superhero and be black, we gotta make him gay. Man, this is like growing up and finding out Static Shock was gay. That's what this feels like for me. And I got more of an attachment to Static Shock. But understand, Louis Gossett Jr. is one hell of an actor. And I feel like for them to give him an origin story of him being somebody's butt buddy. It ruined his character. And now he's in a wheelchair. Bro, there's so many undertones to this that make us look bad, dog. But I'm done, man. So please, straight black man, do not watch this show. I know this is gonna get tons of dislikes, but I need y'all to jump on code with me and like this. Create other pages, like it again. Do whatever you got to. You know they're gonna demonetize me anyway for keeping it a buck, but I don't care. It's 2020, and we gotta keep that same energy. And please, ladies and gentlemen, and black women, please, you too. I need y'all to jump on code too. Because the way they mistreated that black wife in this show, y'all, my black queens, y'all would hate this show too the minute you saw that scene. It would be enough. Regina King being the main character would not be enough to suffice. You see that one scene, you go, what? Oh, heck no. And I'm just going to leave y'all with that, man. So, at the end of the day, man, if you got the fire stick hustle, participate. But if you don't give them no view. All right? I've given you the 30-minute synopsis of why that show is trash. Please heed my warning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dave Smith. This is Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism, and I'm out.